Hi guys, it's Nathan from Drummers Only, and I'm here today at Yamaha in Milton Keynes, and I'm joined by Simon Edgoose, Yamaha product demonstrator, and we are here looking at the new Yamaha DTX10 electronic drum kit. So, Simon, Yamaha DTX10.
Yes.
Looking very, very impressive, very, very mean. First of all, the most important thing to talk about on the DTX10 is obviously the DTX10 module.
Yep.
So could you tell us the differences between the DTX10 versus the DTX Pro module?
DTX10 comes with the DTX Pro module. Differences between the Pro and the Pro X. The Pro X has got individual outputs, 8 individual outputs plus your master left and right, and sounds can be sent anywhere you want. So the Pro, which comes with the 8, just has left and right outputs. There is more detail in the sounds on this one, so there's more individual layers inside each sample. So there's more sounds in the first place, there's more kits, and there's some really good features for using for live.
What are the features that people would want to use in a live environment?
In the Pro X, there's something called Live Set, something which lets you put all the kits you're going to need into the right order for your gig. So you might need 20 kits, you can put 20 kits in the right order. But what you can also do is you can assign a backing track to each one of those kits.
Oh wow.
And it will stream the backing track from your USB drive, which you've got slotted in the back. What normally happens is you'd have to have a click generated somewhere. So you'd normally have a laptop or something to play backing tracks. But what this does is the module generates the click track.
Oh wow.
So you can have a stereo track on your USB drive. You can get to the next song in your set, hit play, the backing track goes out to the front of house, to the PA, but the click, which the module generates, just comes through to your headphones.
Oh wow.
So it's really useful because you can run basically a whole set just on a USB drive.
So upon looking at these kits, obviously the first thing that you will notice is the actual shells themselves. So can you tell us more about the actual shells that we're using on these kits?
They're birch ply shells. They're made in the Yamaha drum factory. There's 2 different finishes. This is the real wood finish, and we've also got the black forest finish. The head surface, there's a choice of 2 different head surfaces. For quite a long time now, Yamaha's used TCS, which is the textured cellular silicone, the white surface with the air bubbles inside. But this is a mesh version. You can have each kit in either TCS or mesh as well.
You know, there's a certain amount of people that will like silicone head, but there's also a lot of people that were screaming for mesh. So for Yamaha to come out with mesh heads, I think they've just put them on that much higher pedestal now that it's great. I think it opens up the market.
Each one is going to appeal to different people.
Absolutely.
I mean, people who are used to mesh will obviously prefer mesh. A lot of Yamaha diehards will prefer the TCS.
Yes.
But also, people have got a choice. They can try both next door to each other. They're the same pad, just different head materials. My German counterpart did the Swiss drum show 2 weekends ago, and he had both kits set up, a mesh and a TCS, opposite each other with a stall in the middle so people could try both. He rung me in his car on the way back from the Swiss drum show, and he said, "You won't believe what the numbers are, but the people who came to the show, which was a couple of thousand people, of the people who tried it, 95% said they preferred the TCS." And we're not just saying that because we're for Yamaha, but it was like, blimey, I didn't expect it to be like that.
I thought it was going to be like 50-50.
Yeah, and also Yamaha spent 7 years getting the TCS right, trying to get the feel of it right and all that sort of stuff, and how it throws the stick back.
So looking at the shells as well, obviously it's all universal with Yamaha's drum hardware as well. So if you've already got a series of clamps and everything else, you can obviously adapt your setup.
And this will all go into Yamaha stand bases as well. So if you want to put the kit on stands, you can do that very easily. These are all standard Yamaha cymbal arms, tom arms, and all that sort of stuff. You get the hi-hat stand, you get the snare drum stand with it. The only thing you need to provide is bass drum pedal in the stall.
One other little feature which I love, but it's the little bass drum port. I love that. How many engineers are we going to have that are going to be trying to stick a mic in that? The DTX Pro X module. Tell us about the sounds.
The sounds were recorded in lots of different studios. In the UK, it was Peter Gabriel's Real World Studios down in Bath, and lots of other really nice high-end studios all over Europe that were picked for their drum sounds. And the sampling team took a load of gear into each studio. They used the gear that sounded best in those rooms. They mic'd the kits in the normal way, but they also mic'd the rooms. So they took ambience mics in the rooms and overheads and everything else. And what you can do with all the sounds in this, you have a library of basic raw samples, just the sounds coming through the mics basically.
Yeah.
But you can dial in using the ambience kit modifier, which is one of the knobs on the front. You can add in the ambience from the studios that they were recording. So if you take the, I think it's the Absolute Hybrid Maple kit, and turn up the ambience knob, you are hearing the room at real world.
Wow.
So it's not sort of just some random digital reverb, it's actually the sound of the studios that they're recorded in.
Wow.
So it's great. Really, really nice and really natural. It doesn't ever sound forced. Sound-wise, I mean, there's loads of different stuff. There's vintage stuff, there's new stuff, but the whole point, having a library of sounds, and then you can start messing around with it. There aren't 200 snares in here. There's far fewer than that because you can take one snare and you can make it sound 100 different ways just by EQing it in a different way, putting different compression on it. If you want to, not everyone will want to, but you can get into it and you can really tweak the sounds.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a small portion of people that just want to turn it on and play. And there's other people that want to push buttons and completely morph the sound altogether. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just want to literally turn it on a play, turn it on, pick one of the presets, and then just turn the 3 modifier knobs on the front, and you've got infinite amounts of sounds.
So with the 3 modifier knobs, what are we looking at?
Okay, so we've got the ambience modifier, which is the one which adds back in the sound of the studios. We've got the compression modifier, which adds compression to the whole kit. So a little bit of compression sort of glues the sound together. If you turn that up, it starts to add a bit more smack, a bit more attack to the whole sound. And then the third one is an effects modifier, which has control over 3 different effects processes. You can do whatever you want with that. You could have some sort of delay thing, you could have some high-end presence. If you want to do your John Bonham in the bottom of a stairwell sound and have a bit of delay on there, a bit of gated reverb, you can do it just by using those knobs.
The other thing I like as well is you've now got individual faders as well.
Yep.
So if you want to bring in less hi-hat, less kick, whatever. So again, in a live environment, you will get the sound engineer or you'll get the bass player or whoever, but you will get the guy that obviously needs a little bit less kick, a little bit more. So obviously you can just tweak that, and having the individual faders there just opens it up.
Totally. And the other thing with those faders on the front is they have multiple uses. So in its most basic, it's the volume. So if you want to pull down the hi-hat, you literally just turn the knob and it brings down the volume of the hi-hat. But you can also turn the knob to the left of that, and you could adjust the tuning of each pad with those knobs, or the voice selection, or the damping, or anything like that. Those faders at the front have many, many uses depending on just what you want to do, which means when you're playing live, if you want to change the damping of your snare drum, you can just go done. So
as well as the new look pads, we've also got some new cymbals as well to talk about.
Yep, so the ride cymbal is a PCY 175, so it's a 17-inch ride cymbal. 3 zones, bell, bow and edge. It's also positionally sensitive, so when you play up towards the bell, it's brighter. When you pull your stick down towards the edge, it's darker. All 3 cymbals are 3-zone. Talking of positional sensitive, the snare is also positional sensitive. So when you play towards the edge, more higher harmonics. When you play towards the center, it's drier. And obviously, if you connect this up to your computer, that all transfers. If you've got it plugged into a drum plug-in, it will work perfectly with those as well.
So this kit being the beast that it is, and the module being the powerhouse that it is, obviously I understand that you can input your own samples as well.
Yeah, so you can bring in up to 1,000 of your own samples. So that could be anything. It could be Lars Ulrich's bass drum, your next door neighbour, it could be your favourite cowbell.
Or your next door neighbour's favourite cowbell.
Or your next door neighbour's favourite cowbell. Or your favourite neighbour's cowbell. You can bring in what's called a multi-layer sample. It's up to 120 sounds, from very, very quiet to very, very loud, and repeating samples as well. So you never get the same sound twice. Even if you hit the pad 4 times, you will always get a different sound. It's basically what you would run inside a computer, inside a drum library, a VSTI library. You can import those sounds into here. So you can come up with some really, really detailed samples, which means you'll never run out of sounds. If you hear something which you like, that's a really good snare drum, I like that one, you can take 120 samples, you can load them into here, and you can just play them off one pad like it's the original sound.
So again, on the module, we've also got individual outs. How would that help the person, or how would that help the end user?
If you're playing live, the engineer, the sound engineer, would normally want to have the bass drum on its own channel, the snare drum on its own channel, toms may be on 2, the cymbals may be on 2 channels. With this you can do it. You can assign any pad to any output, you can decide how it works, then you can just give the sound person all the cables and go, that's your bass drum, that's your snare drum, those are your toms.
So it's like using an acoustic kit, so it gives you ultimate control. Wow, okay. Absolutely. So again, this is why it aims it at people that wanted to use it live, and they're scared that it's not going to kind of transpose as a normal kit would.
And as well as the outputs, there's 2 auxiliary inputs, so you can plug in your monitor feed on stage or something like that, just have it go into your headphones or your in-ear monitors, so you can use it as a mixer. It's got Bluetooth as well, so you can just play tracks from your phone. USB, obviously you can just connect it up to your computer and just send the audio to your computer. You can have your computer playing backing tracks into it.
And again, one little thing that I noticed on the module, you've also got 2 inputs for the headphones as well.
Really useful. So a mini jack and a 1/4 inch. So if you're teaching, you can both have headphones.
Wow.
Or you can plug your in-ears in, which generally are on a mini jack, or your normal headphones, which are on a 1/4 inch jack.
Great. So Simon, thank you very much for your time today.
Pleasure.
These kits are now available in store and online at drummersonly.co.uk. Don't forget to check out our website for all other Yamaha products as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our social media channels, Drummers Only UK. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll speak to you soon.